Krass. Good afternoon, a very warm welcome to stage 4 of the Saudi Tour, the day that we've all been waiting for as far as the climbers are concerned. This is showdown day. Let's take a look back at what has happened in the race so far. The riders are racing for this Saudi Tour trophy for the second time. Stage 1 of the race is all about the sprinters. Caleb Ewan powering out the pack. The Pocket Rocket took his first win of 2022. Stage 2, and it held everyone into the climb. Buitrago attacked, Baggioli went with him, but it was the Colombian taking his first win as a World Tour rider. Yesterday, it was horrendous. Headwinds, crosswinds, sandblasting, and finally, one rider had more power than all the others. Groenewegen took the victory. Dylan Groenewegen, the winner of stage 3. Let's take a look then at stage number 4. We're going to race from Winter Park to the sky views of Harat Uwairid. 149.3 kilometres of racing. Along the way for the riders, 2 active sprints and 1 bonus sprint, and a pretty fearsome climb which takes the riders up to the crest of this volcanic area, and then they race 8.6 kilometres to the finish in a crosswind section. We're going to finish at 1,166 metres above sea level, but the actual highest point, as you can see, over 1,200 metres. The riders set off this morning from the Winter Park, and they knew that they were going to endure some pretty hefty conditions out there on the road. There was a real sense of anticipation in this peloton. We've lost yesterday Rudy Selig, down to 95 riders now in this group of riders. And the riders have been racing very, very hard today. You'll be pleased to know that we do have race pictures. So we're going to go straight to the action as soon as we can. At the start then in Winter Park, all the teams getting themselves ready. Little bit of a chill wind blowing across Winter Park, I guess corresponding with its name. But the riders know that it's going to be a sunny and sand-blasted day. On the start line, the flag about to be dropped, and all the riders arriving on the line very, very early, knowing that they needed to be at the front. The race got underway at 10:40, ahead of the riders, a neutralised section of 9.3 kilometres. The sky views of Harat Uwairid, a very well-known area, one of the several volcanic fields in Western Arabia. Now let's go straight to the action, because this race is absolutely full on right now. We had a duo of riders, Tsorzakis of Kuwait and Mohamed Othman of the Terengganu team, who were on the attack. They had a big lead, but suddenly this race has completely exploded, and we have now got a group of riders at the front. The duo have been caught, and in the crosswinds there are groups all over the place. 58.5 kilometres of racing now remain. The green jersey is at 28 seconds. He has been distanced. And the third group on the road at 53 seconds. I'm just looking to see whether the green jersey, though, has managed to get himself in here. I think he has. So, and this is the chasing group we're looking at here. So the chasing group has got a real problem. This is the chasing group with Buitrago at 27 seconds now, with all his Bahrain victorious team around him. This is the echelons that have formed. Basically, the riders have been in crosswinds in both directions of today's route. There's almost, I guess, almost a figure of 8 at times. And the riders going up one side, going northwards, have had a crosswind, and coming back down towards the race finish have got a crosswind. So one going up from the left and a crosswind from the right. Now the news that we have that Scharmig in the white jersey has been dropped. Dylan Groenewegen has also been distanced by the field. Rui Oliveira just had a puncture and is in this group of chasing riders. So pretty frantic activity right now with the front group going away. We'll take a look at this front group as soon as we can and see who is in it. But as we can see at the moment, Scharmig, 13 seconds down, is in Group 3 on the road. Buitrago is way down at the moment as we look here at this front group of riders. Daniel Oss there. Number 41 is Baggioli, who looks good. He was looking forward to the crosswinds today. Cofidis are represented as well. We look further forward, number 97, the Australian Sam Welsford, who to me looked like he was up for it today when I was talking to him before the race starts. Number 11 is there, Bonifacio. He's a stage winner in this race before. Also in here is Maxim van Gils, who is benefiting from this move of riders as they go away. Kicking through hard, aren't they? Number 75 there is Alexis Reynard going through to the front now. Number 46 is Yannick Stemmler. Number 42 goes through, and that's David Ballerini, because they know that they can give Baggioli a stage victory. Anthony Turgis goes through to the front, joined by his teammate Bonifacio. Who else is in that group? Van Gils is there, we've mentioned. Also further on back, number 113 is Jeremy Lecroc. He has made it into the group as well. So it looks to me at the moment as though Maxim van Gils is the rider who is benefiting most. I'm just trying to see whether Rui Costa has made it into that front group of riders. We're looking for number 1. Let's just remind ourselves then, the weather conditions at the start, 20 degrees. At the finish, it's 16 because we're at quite a high altitude at the race finish today. But certainly this race is full on as we see the riders heading towards this final climb. This is the frantic chase that's going on to save the green jersey of Buitrago, who I think today is the race favourite on this climb. It suits him absolutely perfectly, but at this moment, this gap is growing. It's now 33 seconds. Just taking a look to see how these groups are merging. This looks like Group 3 on the road, merging with Group 2. And it's Uranstad who's trying to bring Scharmig back. .40 seconds is now the advantage. Look how flat out this bike race is. Sorry about the little bit of picture break-up at the moment. We'll try and just write that for you so that we can get a full idea of any other riders in that front group and see what the situation is. The big power riders of Bahrain Victorious are doing everything they possibly can to bring their race leader back to the front of the race. An immense amount of work here being done. There's a Uno X team. They're trying to salvage this as well. Uranstad, what a teammate this rider is. You would definitely want him in your team, wouldn't you? ...18 leaders as they work their way through. trying to see if that is Rui Costa who is in this group. Luca Metgetz has made it into this front group safely. Everyone just trying to get as much shelter as possible. There is one UAE rider who has ensured he's in here. There's Maxim van Gils, who is the main benefactor at the moment. Sorzakis is safely in here as well. These riders having to work hard, aren't they? In fact, there is no UAE rider in this group at all. So they've missed out too. Number 37 goes through. He's got real reason to push this race on. There goes Bonifacio through to the front. There's an awful lot of shouting going on. Behind them, number 42, there is Ballerini. He kicks through. Going through to the front, Yannick Stemmler. Following Yannick Stemmler is Bertland van Leeberger. Going through now for the Cofidis team. Number 75 there is Alexis Reynard. Oh, there's so much shouting in this group, isn't there? You can hear the tension. You can hear the wish to try and win this race. So Rui Costa not there. The biggest benefactor of this attack is without doubt. And look at Polykronos Sorzakis. Suddenly he missed the wheel, and that's how tough it is in these crosswinds. He has to power his way back on. The Quick Step team have yet again taken this race on. I can see Rui Costa in Group 2 on the road. The gap now is 55 seconds with 52.7 kilometers of racing to go. There is Rui Costa, left-hand side. So when we started the race today, Buitrago led by 3 seconds from Caleb Ewan, 13 on Costa, Sharmig at 13, Van Gils at 17, Tim de Klerk at 20. Van Gils is currently the virtual leader of the Saudi Tour. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We've got everything in position to make sure that we see all of this race today. Question now is whether this group on the road has got enough firepower to bring everything back to the front. It's a big ask. The gap goes again, 59 seconds now. Arkea Samsic. Here's Keanuta Brooks. We heard from him just before the start. Let's hear from him now.
Stage we had the second place, so then it was really, you know, a nice atmosphere. But yeah, for me, let's say everything is also really new. Like for sure, yesterday was really with the crosswind and everything was my first time in crosswind in my life. So that was really a new impression. And so yeah, let's say that until now I really learn a lot, and that's good, I think, for the future. So yeah, for me it's not the best circuit, let's say, for my kind of profile of rider, but you learn here so much important things, who is also important for more climber, really, yeah, climber GC riders. So yeah, I think for the future this is really good to do this.
So today we've got a very important stage, and you've got a rider who could possibly win today, or two riders who could possibly win today. Tell us about your job. What's your role today?
Oh yeah, for me myself, it's more like surviving the first kilometers, because there is again crosswind. So there it's a little bit like surviving, and then we hope to be with a bigger group maybe at the climb, at the beginning of the climb, and then we have some more cards. We have I can go up the climb fast, but we have Lennart Kemna also and Matteo Favro. So there we have more cards to play, let's say, on that climb. But for sure, when I am still there, maybe I can also try to follow as good as possible. But I think we need to start to first survive the crosswind in the first kilometers, and then afterwards we see.
Kienute Brooks in his first ever race as a World Tour rider, only 18 years of age. Let's run through then the head of the race. Sorzakis has just been dropped. So in the group, Bonifacio, Ost, Turgis, Metgets, Van Gils is in the front group. So is Baggioli, Ballerini, Tim de Klerk, Yannick Stemmler, Bert van Leeberger. The Quick Step Alpha Vinyl team looking good. Danny Van Poppels, Consoni, Reynard Dents, Sam Welsford of Australia is in that front group in his first World Tour race. And Jeremy Lecroc is also there. The Pacers, they now take a little bit of a left-hander. We just lost Sorzakis, he's just gone. So 3 riders from Total Energies, 1 from Bike Exchange, 1 from Lotto Soudal, a total of 5 riders from the Quick Step Alpha Vinyl team, 1 from Bora Hansgrohe, 2 from Cofidis, 2 from DSM, 1 from B&B Hotels. $16 riders now in the front group. 1 minute and 5 seconds. The gap is certainly not diminishing at all. Let's take a look then at the position. The riders are heading along the road towards this intermediate bonus. There's the head of the race. There's the chase going on at 1 minute and 4 seconds. We're about to turn the corner again, which is yet again going to present the riders with an opportunity in the crosswinds. Going to be slightly head cross. 105 is the advantage. There's chasers all over the place who are just trying to rescue their race today. The sand is blowing across the road as well. It really is a tough day. And talking to the riders who I was chatting to before the race start, they said that yesterday was so tough. I talked to Joris Nieuwenhuis and he said yesterday was absolutely one of the toughest days ever. You're in crosswinds all the time, fighting all the time. There goes Welsford through the picture. There's not much room left on the road, is there, for number 113, just to squeeze in there, Jeremy Lecroc. But they seem to be working well. There'll be a little bit of respite when they get up to the rocks. You can just see the fighters. Everyone just tries to slot in, get themselves a little bit of shadow. But yet again, it is Quick Step Alpha Vinyl who are putting themselves in the prime position for a stage victory. Remember that Baggioli lost so much time on day number 1. And Baggioli now is still at the base of the general classification. He's 21 minutes and 29 seconds down, but he wasn't really worrying about that too much this morning. He was thinking about the stage victory. That's all he was worried about. But he also knows that this final climb of the day, once you crest it, you kind of need a teammate with you to help you out, because the crosswind at the top is where you can win and lose the race. Many of the riders also said before the race start, though, that this day would be lost before you got to the final climb, and it looks like that is exactly what is happening. These groups of riders in disarray. So in terms of how far we've got to go to this final climb, that will come up at 11.4 kilometers to go. The climb itself is 2.8 kilometers at 12%. So there's still a fair amount of time for the chasing group to try and rescue this, although at this moment in time it's not looking too good. Green jersey now at 118. He's been joined by the white jersey. On the front then, Jonathan Milan of the Bahrain Victorious team, doing everything he can to bring this back. On his wheel is Roger Kluger, who's not going to help chase this one down at all, because right now he's in the position he wants to be in, and that is he's on defence. There is Caleb Ewan wearing number 31 in the red jersey as the leader of the points classification. So when we started today, the general classification looked like this, with Drago led, Caleb Ewan second. This is where we are heading now, towards the intermediate sprint point. Caleb Ewan second at 3, Costa at 13, Sharmig at 13, Van Gils at 17, Tim de Klerk at 20, then Simone Consoni at 21. Consoni is in this front group right now. Van Poppel at 21 seconds, he's also there. And then the group also contained at 21 seconds, Ruben Fernandez, Benjamin de Klerk, Rui Oliveira, Daniel Oss, Alexander Genier. So in terms of the top 14 riders, Van Gils is there, de Klerk is there, Consoni is there, Van Poppel has made it into that front group of riders. Daniel Oss is also safely in there for the team of Total Energy. Genier didn't manage to make it. So that's the riders, only 5 riders out of the top 14 riders who are in this front group as they power away. Now, have UAE and UNOX and Bahrain Victorious between them got enough firepower to cause the Quick Step team to call off this race at the front and close this gap significantly? Right now it doesn't look like they do, but as the conditions change, let's see what happens. There's Randstad. He's done well to bring his team leader back to the front. Sharmig is benefiting from the strength of this rider in blue. This is the second peloton. Nieuwenhuis goes through to the front. I don't think he'll be too bothered about chasing things down at the moment. DSM are in a pretty good position. They have already got a couple of their riders up the road, Nico Dents and Sam Welsford. Whether they can win from this position is a very different matter. Sam Welsford was joking with me before the start that he was just going to ride this final climb nice and steady. He may well think differently when he gets there. David Ballerini goes through back to the front. Let's take a little look at this replay. This is the intermediate sprint. And right on the front, it was Consoni who was looking for the bonus seconds. Confirmation then that Turgis took 3, Consoni took the 2, and Welsford scored some points as well. In sprint number 2, he takes 1 point. The sprint that the riders were really concerned about in the overall is the bonus sprint coming up at 8.6 kilometres to go to the finish line, and that's where we crest the top of this final climb of the day. Well, thanks very much for getting in touch. Thanks for all your messages during this Saudi tour. I know we've had a little bit of a challenging time at moments during the race, but things have settled down now. Today we have certainly got one of those races that we all enjoy when we see the echelons form and we see the fight going on between the different groups as teams that try to control their position or extend their lead. That's exactly what we're getting right now. This man is having a testing time right now. The young rider from Colombia, Santiago Buitrago, on the wheel of Roger Kluger. Yesterday he was distancing the crosswinds. Today, when it really matters, as they head towards his terrain where he could capitalise and win the Saudi Tour, he's finding out just how hard these crosswind racing sections can be. And the riders who thrive in the crosswinds are putting everyone to the sword. Here's Thomas de Gent's group, Group 3 on the road. Now, you may think that a rider who is so good at attacking, so good at breakaways, Thomas de Gent would be thriving in these conditions. He hates crosswinds. He does not enjoy them at all, and he's in the 3rd group on the road and having to chase his way back. .6 kilometres to go. 30 kilometres until we reach the base of this final climb. Other riders who are in with a chance of taking the overall victory in this front group, certainly Tim de Klerk. Consoni might fancy a win here, and I'm wondering whether the stage victory, if it does stay like this, could come from a rider like Turgis, but certainly Baggioli for me. Baggioli and Maxim van Gils are the 2 strong climbers in this front group. Tim de Klerk getting, or Bert van Leeuwenberger at the back, just getting a little bit annoyed, looking for a bottle, asking for the team car to come up as quickly as possible. Now, yesterday, Nicola Bonifacio was noted in the results as not finishing the stage, but he certainly did, and he's back in here, back in the front group again. You notice there then that the rider from Quick-Step Alpha Vinyl, Bert van Leeuwenberger, asked the race direction car to come up and take the bottle off him. That's under the new rules that happened when littering was very closely looked at. And now when you get to the end of the stage, the race direction car is pretty much laden with empty bidons. They're not closing this at all, are they? 40 kilometres to go. 120 is now the advantage. Talking to the DSM riders today, they've got 36.30 as gears on for their final climb of the day. When they went out training on it on the day before the race started, they said they were so over-geared, they were zigzagging their way up this final climb. So they've gone away, they've sorted out what gears they want to ride, and they're pretty happy now that the selection they've made will enable them to ride much more steadily and easily up to the top of this very tough climb. In terms of gradients, when we get to it, this final climb at Harat Awairid, 2.8 kilometers, average gradient is 12%. We start off pretty steadily for the first half a kilometer or so. The average gradient is only around about 3.2% as we take a nice look here at Andrea Baggioli. There he is, rolling along. Well, we caught up with him this morning before the race start, and he's in the front group. Let's hear from Andrea Baggioli now.
Morning. The other day on the final climb, you looked really strong despite your crash the day before, taking second place. What are your thoughts about today and this final rise to the finish?
Today for sure the final climb is very hard, but I think also before with this wind we saw yesterday, and it's hard also with the wind. There can be echelon all day because it's a crosswind. So we see how is the situation, and if we arrive in the climb and I'm in the front group, for sure I try to attack or to do something. But I also know that from the top of the climb to the finish line is still long, and also there with the crosswind, so it will be difficult to arrive alone, but maybe in a small group.
Yesterday, Quick Step looked really strong. At the time when the race was in chaos, you had 6 out of 7 riders at the front. How much confidence does that give you for today?
Yeah, I'm super confident because with this team in the echelon is pretty easy, you know. It's hard, but more easy because we stay always together, and we have guys like Berta or a team that are perfect for this job.
Baggioli then predicting the crosswinds today, and he is absolutely right. 5 out of the 7 Quick Step riders are in the front group right now. So they are perfectly positioned to try and put Baggioli in with a chance of winning today's stage. Baggioli wore the Best Young Riders jersey in La Vuelta. He's had 2 stitches in his elbow after the crash earlier on in the race, but he feels pretty comfortable now. He says it's causing him no major issues. He's certainly riding strongly. It doesn't show any ill effects from that crash whatsoever. There's a few little bits of messing around going on here. Now the rider's getting a little bit of assistance, and a tailwind section, cross tailwind. They're hitting 70 kilometers an hour on this section now. This is furious racing. Any moment now they're going to take another right-hander and back into another crosswind. They are covering these kilometers so quickly. Big turn coming up now. Lots of speed bumps as well in this area, as you can see. Now you've got to be careful when you come around this right-hander, because the acceleration at the front, you can be washed away. You leave a meter and you lose 20. Still the focus. Ryan Mullen up there towards the front in the red and the green and white as the Irish champion. Rui Costa will not be happy that he's missed this. He's been chasing bonus seconds all week. This peloton flying along now at 60k an hour. Look at that, they're literally out of gears. The tempo is electric in this Saudi Tour. I was talking to Ryan Mullen this morning. He said yesterday was chaos. He's enjoying being in this Bora Hansgrohe team, though. He said he moved over from Trek Segafredo, and it was a good change for him after 4 years with the Trek Segafredo team. He loved being there, but he's also enjoying being here in Bora Hansgrohe. So the chasing group then numbers pretty much the rest of the peloton. They're going to take this right-hander. They're now making their way down with a crosswind from the right-hand side. This group just riding through. This is the third group on the road. Niebenhaus there, he looks around. Thomas de Gent is just tucked in on the wheels. Looks like Dainese is also in this group as well, but he'll be thinking about tomorrow and what should be a sprint day. But you can never say what should be in this race. Nico Dents. He's in the front group right now. Dents looking pretty strong. Things have calmed a little. There's less shouting going on, less frustration. There is Consoni. Ascioli must be thinking, this is perfect for me today. Maxim van Gils keeping the tempo on in that red and white jersey, still strapped up on the left arm as we get a chance here to see Sam Welsford go through. How good is it to see this talented rider in the World Tour? Goes through to the front. He's got a few little crash marks already on the body, but he's thriving in the crosswinds. Still lots of conversation going on. Fernando Gaviria trying to drill something into this UAE team to bring this race to a more successful conclusion than they're looking at right now. Well, we're heading past the incredible Moriah. Stunning piece of art set in the desert canyon of the Ashar Valley. That's where we have just about to turn again in Karakir. There's the speeds of the various groups, 43 kilometers an hour at the front. And Buitrago is looking pretty tired, isn't he? Last night, when he was in the interview after the stage, he was absolutely exhausted. You can see the shoulders are just rocking when he's putting any form of pressure through the pedals. The back's hurting, a little bit of a stretch there. Climbers are, in many occasions, not well crafted in the world of crosswinds. There are some climbers who don't mind them at all, but I think that's in its minority. Back to our front group. If you've just joined us now, this is the race situation. Two riders went away. Zorzakis again with Mohamed Othman of Terengganu. As we came live, they caught the breakaway after many accelerations and a group of riders went clear. We started with 18 riders in the front. We've now got a group of 17 riders in the front group. In fact, now we've only got 16 riders in the front group. Well, in the front group is Maxim van Gils. He starts the day in 5th place overall at 17 seconds. We caught up with him before the race starts. Let's hear from him now.
So we're heading into a very important stage in the Saudi Tour today. You're lying 5th overall at the moment. What's your thoughts on today's race?
Yeah, first we need to come on the climb in the first group. That's really important today because it's really windy again. So it will be again in Echelons, I think. And then on the climb we will see, but the first goal is to come in the first group on the climb.
What will the team do then to look after you in the crosswinds today?
Yeah, I have a really strong team around me, I think. Today it's just a big goal to get me in that first group. So I have Jasper and Roger also, and also Caleb is really, really good in the Echelons. So I think the guys can help me, and then we will see.
The other day you crashed and you still came back and had a really strong finish. That must have given you some confidence knowing your form is there.
Yeah, I think my form is really good at the moment. Also 2 days ago I was in a really good day, but then I crashed, so I was like, fuck, I'm not in my best shape anymore. But yeah, it was really motivation to get a good result, and it's really important to come in the first group over the finish for the GC. So I did really well, I think. Maybe not the best. I missed some important sprinkle or something across the fall or the crash. But yeah, it was not bad. It was also good, I think. But now, yeah, when I come on the climb in a good shape without a crash, then I think it's we'll see.
Maxime van Gils giving us a pretty stark outline of how he is. 30 kilometres of racing to go. 1:25 now is the advantage. Well, the first objective for the Lotto Soudal rider was to get in the front group, and the team have managed to do that. We head past Mariah. Stunning piece of art in the desert. It's pretty incredible. We came here the other day for a photo shoot with the riders. It's the largest mirrored building in the world, according to the Guinness World Records. 9,740 mirrored panels reflecting AlUla's beauty. It's actually a concert hall, and on the back of the building is a huge windowed atrium that you can look out on the mountains as you sit and enjoy a concert. Maxime van Gils then in a perfect position to win this Saudi Tour if he continues like this. On the back then, Nico Dens. Let's take a look at where we've been. That was a neutralised start. The riders looped out, went up, round the mountains, and now they are working their way back down to this final climb of the day. Sunshine is firmly on their backs. And now they're working their way up to the final turns into the climb. We've almost done a figure of 8 today, which is why the riders are getting no respite at all from the climbs and the crosswinds. Nico Dens there from the DSM team, second on the stage of the Giro d'Italia, winner of the Tour of the Vendée, and a stage winner in the Tour of Slovakia. Despite Bahrain victorious UAE, Uno X throwing everything at this race is not coming back together. Kamil Gradek doing the work on the front, trying to bring this race back together for Bahrain victorious. 1:29. Whilst we go through the waste zone and past the soigneurs as we take on some more bottles before the race finish, let's find out a little bit more about this area.
This is AlUla, located in northwest Saudi Arabia. Tens of thousands of ancient archaeological sites attest to a human presence here, going back to deep prehistory. The modern town of AlUla lies at the center of a desert oasis. Local historian Ahmed Aliman is traveling just beyond the main thoroughfares of the modern town to the ruins of a nearly 3,000-year-old city. Dawn.
We are on Dadan site, and I believe it is maybe the most important site in AlUla.
The legendary city of Dadan is twice mentioned in the Hebrew Bible. The site is believed to date back to around 900 BCE. It thrived for around 5 centuries as the center of the Dodanite and later the Leonite kingdom. The ruins here are believed to be only a fraction of the ancient city.
Archaeologists all believe that under these palm trees is continually a part of the city. It's maybe from the mountain to the mountain.
For more than a decade, archaeological work has focused on what looks to be a temple district. The excavations have provided a glimpse into the religious rites of ancient Dadan.
This is a purification pool for a temple.
The 23,000-liter circular water basin is believed to have been for ritual immersion, perhaps by temple priests. Nearby excavations have revealed impressive statues with enigmatic faces. Clear Greek influences attest to Dodon's global reach. The builders also left clues in the surrounding cliffs, including what are referred to as the lion tombs. Chiseled into a sandstone rock face, it's all evidence of a kingdom that grew wealthy, commanding the trade routes of ancient Arabia.
They wanted to protect this road, to protect their caravans, the trade road, the business of that time, the frankincense or the myrrh.
Researchers have also uncovered hundreds of inscriptions dating to the first millennium BCE. Most are in a language called Dodonic, an early precursor to classical Arabic. Major questions about ancient Dodon remain. Scholars are unclear why the city was suddenly abandoned around the 1st century BCE. Ongoing excavations will likely provide both more answers and deeper questions.
.2 kilometres to go. A very warm welcome to this 4th stage of the Saudi Tour. Well, if you've just joined us now, the race has been absolutely fully on. We have a group of 16 riders at the front of this race. There they are as we look down on them. The group contains Bonifacio, Os and Turgis of Total Energy, Mejdek of Bike Exchange Jayco, Van Gils, the virtual leader of this Saudi Tour from the Lotto Soudal team. Quick-Step with 5 riders, Baggioli, Ballerini, De Klerk, Steimler and Van Leeberg. Danny Van Poppel of Bora Hansgrohe, Consoni and Reynard of Cofidis, Dents and Welsford of Team DSM. Also in the group, Le Croc of B&B Hotels KTM. And the race is still a furious one, and it has been since the race start today. Yesterday they went pretty steadily with that headwind. Today there has been nothing but flat out skirmishes, bike racing in the desert and crosswinds to endure. 124, Buitrago is in difficulty. Little gap starting to open. Le Croc goes across in the colours of B&B Hotels. Now, Baggioli has got so much firepower to use with so many of the quick-step riders in here that you think that this is never going to come back together. Just purely, he can just say to them, guys, just bury yourself. I will give you the stage victory. Don't worry about anything else. Just take me to the bottom of this climb and then I will deliver everything else you need. 22 years of age, Andrea Baggioli, winner of the Royal Bernard Drôme Classic in 2021. This is his first race of the season. Second on the stage of La Vuelta, you may remember, last season. He finished behind Magnus Cort and just ahead of Michael Matthews on that particular day into Cordoba on a searing day of temperatures around about 40 degrees. Look at the way that Bahrain Victorious are burying themselves, trying to bring this race to a successful conclusion. Right now, though, Buitrago has got an awful lot to do. You wonder whether he'll try something on this final climb, but once he gets over the top of it, he needs an ally. He needs someone with him. Bonifacio, a stage winner last year, goes through in the blue and white. The tractor. He doesn't look like a tractor today, does he? He looks more like a juggernaut that's smashing this race apart. Going through to the front, 42 is Ballerini. Then following him is Yannick Stemmler, the German powerhouse. Going through and happy to contribute is Anthony Turgis. The Total Energies team now on those new red specialised bikes, as you can see from the front of the group here. Most of the driving force are on S-Works. Total Energy having taken the equipment and the sponsors of Peter Sagan to completely transform this squad. When we look at this group then, who are the likely winners? Who could take the stage? Well, Baggioli is the race favourite. Now, Van Gils, though, I think will be with him, and he will look to secure this Saudi Tour by taking enough bonus seconds. He needs 17 seconds on this man in the green jersey, Buitrago, and he's got that so far. He just needs to deliver and push this one home. Other riders, though, will be thinking otherwise. They will be thinking that they will ensure that they win this race overall. Thinking about Van Gils, he's at 17 seconds. But Consoni's only at 21. It's going to be an interesting run-in, isn't it? It's going to be a bit of a tussle on that final climb. The white shoes of the second group. Noticed this morning as the peloton rolled out, pretty much every rider in the peloton at the moment is wearing white shoes. I noticed one rider in black, and that was rare. There's a couple of riders wearing kind of blue shoes, but pretty much the entire peloton is in white. You can hear the wind rumbling through the microphone as we follow along on this motorbike. 48 kilometers an hour. Only 9 kilometers now to the base of this climb. The kilometers are ticking through very rapidly. Kuwait are trying to contribute. Cofidis also. Although I would have thought Cofidis are pretty happy with this race situation. I'm sure the team director of Thierry Maréchal is not too worried about a scenario where he's got 2 riders in the front group. Here's a little look at the situation with the wind direction there with the red arrows coming from the right-hand shoulder, slightly now for the head of the race, a very slight head crosswind. But they're still able to roll along at over 50 kilometers an hour. Peloton split into 2 parts. It used to be the traditional start of the season that we had Tour of Qatar in the Middle East, and that always presented echelon racing, and therefore all the classics riders would come here and get involved in the echelons because it really stood them in good stead for the classic bike races that were coming up. That's since changed with the demise of that race, but it's looking here like the Saudi Tour. If we always got crosswinds like this, it might be that the classics riders decide this is the sort of racing that we want. This is the virtual leader of the Saudi Tour, Maxime Van Gils, Lotto Soudal's rider. He's an under-23 rider in the team car in his first race at World Tour is Alan Davis, the Australian. This rider, Maxime Van Gils, has not won any races in his career. He only turned pro with the World Tour team last season. He's ridden 1 Grand Tour. He rode La Vuelta last season. Finished 88th overall in the general classification, so he had some good experience in the Vuelta last season. He was doing more work for the team rather than looking for victories. 24th overall in the best young rider classification. Comes from Belgium, from Brachat. 22 years of age, has had some standout performances so far though. Finished 12th in San Sebastian and had a couple of good places in Catalonia, 10th place on a stage and 11th place on a stage. Lovely shot here from the helicopter as you see the front group accelerating out of that turn, trying to get themselves back in formation. Very, very important to sprint flat out of the corner, get yourself back into the formation you need, get yourself some shelter. Well, Van Gils is going to have to do this alone. He doesn't have any teammates with him. Another turn coming up. Soon then, the Quick-Step Alpha Vinyl team will be thinking about setting this up for Baggioli on this final climb. Final climb of the day. We start off then at 137.9 kilometers of racing. It's 11.4 kilometers from the finish line. We roll into it at 3.2% for the first half a kilometer. Then it kicks up to 8.2% for the next half a kilometre. The average gradient for the next 500 metres is 16.5%. For the following 500, it kicks up to almost 19%. Then it levels down just a little to 12.8% for the following little section. And then the kick up to the top is an average gradient of 14.7. It's a fearsome climb. It's an absolute leg breaker, and it is going to sort out who wins this race. Now, Van Gils can take enough time here. Tomorrow is a sprint day. It's a day that they would be normally looking for Caleb Ewan to win the sprint for Lotto Soudal. But let's see what happens. It's never over, though, because, again, tomorrow we could have another big day of crosswinds. We've come back to where the race started. We've done a huge loop, and we've just gone past where the neutralised start was. And now we're heading our way, basically, into what is a huge climb. The rock formations around here are pretty special. There's pretty incredible landscapes that we are going to face. It's almost a moonscape when we make our way to the top of this final rise. Arkea Samsic are joining in. Thank you very much for joining us for this penultimate stage of this year's Saudi Tour into the volcano area, one of the volcanic fields in Western Arabia. We're about 120 kilometers east of the Red Sea. There's two vast lava flows in this volcanic field. And it's an area covering around about 125 kilometers long. Right at the northwest of it, as we see a little bit of an acceleration at the front, it joins up with the Harat or the Rahat volcano field. It's a little bit of a flick of the elbow there. Tim de Klerk looking around at Ballerini, and Ballerini just shrugging and thinking, what are you doing? De Klerk, though, always a wonderful teammate, comes back, doesn't push on with that little move. And de Klerk, as you can see, is not thinking at all with, I don't think, any thought of winning today's stage. Luca Metgetz, who did such a good lead out yesterday. He's the rider in that white and bright blue colours. Did a great job yesterday for Dylan Groenewegen, who was extremely complimentary this morning about his team. And he said that they're a real good bunch of guys. They are right on top form. And despite it being the first race of the season, it didn't make any difference whatsoever. They put a plan together, they executed it, they won the stage. Looks to me like we've lost a rider from this front group. We've now got 15 riders, unless there is someone back in the team cars. The Randstad is now working again. He's brought it down to 1 minute 12 seconds. It is dropping a little bit. Now, if Buitrago can put himself in with a shout on this climb, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he could take back 30, 40 seconds. So maybe Bahrain Victorious are saving this. Past the Swan Years, through the final feed zone. 14.5 kilometres remain. An absolute pleasure to bring you this first big race of the season. Many of the riders will be heading back for the classics after this. Some will be going to the Tour of Oman. And some riders will be taking a little bit of a break and being back for the UAE Tour in this particular area. Just a few quick hellos before we get to the final climb. Hello to the Couch Peloton. Thanks very much for joining us. Then a few other hellos. Matthew Cox, Dorian, also thank you very much for your various messages on social media at @McCrossan. 105 then, the gap is starting to diminish. Is this going to come back on the climb? Is there a possibility that Buitrago could be let loose and just go absolutely flat out to the top of the climb and rescue this Saudi Tour? There's not too many kilometres to do it. Another rider slightly off the front. Tim de Klerk again. Clearly there's a few tired legs in this group here. More conversations going on. We are actually now in what is a block headwind. There's going to be a lot of riders just sitting on here and looking for some shelter. Any rider who's thinking of winning the stage will just be hiding right now. Jimmy Engelven then telling his rider, Jeremy Lecroc, 1 minute in advance you've got. This is the final mountain. He wants to bring home a win for the B&B Hotels team. UAE Team Emirates also now emptying the tanks in the second group, trying to put Rui Costa in touching distance to try and rescue his scenario. Everything was looking so good, but somehow it's gone a little bit awry. Jeremy Lecroc then hasn't won any races in his career. Rides for the B&B Hotels team, 26 years of age. Third in the Paris Bourges, fifth in the Skelder Prize. Bit more of a classics rider. Comes from Paris. We'll see whether he can put himself in with a shout of winning this stage. I'm not sure he's going to be able to live with the likes of Baggioli. Well, let's see what happens. Baggioli has no thoughts here of winning this race overall. He purely wants a stage win after that big crash on day number one. There are 3 bonus seconds on offer at the top of the climb. And then there are, of course, 10 bonus seconds for the winner. All to play for. 12.2 kilometres to go. We are almost at the base of this rise. Quick Step continue with this relentless pursuit of winning this stage. Pagioli flicks through. Maxim van Gils also. The virtual leader of the Saudi Tour. Hoping to pull on the green jersey later on this evening. Job done by David Ballerini. He says goodbye to the front group. This gap is starting to come down. It's now 50 seconds. Sam Welsford has just been dropped. "13 leaders, the Australian track rider, Sam Welsford, says goodbye to the front group. Great job by him today. He'll now pedal his way to the top of this climb. 13 leaders, 11.5 kilometers to go. The gap has come down to 50 seconds. Wow, Anthony Turgis has blown. 12 riders left. They are ticking off one by one. Bonifacio is the rider on the front. Bonifacio pedaling hard now on the front. Behind him, and another rider dropped. Bert van Leeuwenberg is dropped. 11 riders now. You sit there with your card, it's like bingo, isn't it? You just cross them off. Lecroc is about to go now as well. The pace of Quick Step Alpha Vinyl ratchets up now significantly. The top of the climb is 2.4 kilometers away. The first bit of it, 4%. Then it really starts to go. Look up there, middle of the screen, you can see the road working its way through the rock formation. Lecroc has gone to 10 riders in the lead. I didn't think he would live with the climbers. He's more of a classics rider. Nine riders now remain. On the front then, the pace is being set. Yannick Steimler has gone. He's distanced. Consoni is about to be dropped now as well. In fact, Reynard has just been dropped. I think Consoni's still there. Pagioli is trying to get rid of everyone. Van Gils is dropping away a little, working his way down the line. Danny Van Poppel is still in here. Well, thanks very much for joining us. This race is now about to get interesting, as if it wasn't interesting enough already. Van Gils trying to hold on. De Klerk has come back. Luca Metgetz is looking good. This is Simone Consoni. Consoni has a mechanical. The rider who is 7th overall and actually heading for the podium. Consoni needs a bike change, really. This is going to be a slow back wheel change. The mechanic's got a big job. Consoni can't believe it. Simone Consoni, virtual 3rd overall, is seeing his opportunity go. Quick Step, use up another rider. Here goes Pagioli. This is the strike to win the stage. Luca Metget's trying to pedal his way across. Maxime Van Gils trying to go with it. Danny Van Poppel also, but there are riders in groups of 2 and 3 behind the fast-moving Italian. The road now ramps. Baggioli looks around to see what damage he's done. The answer is he's cracking everyone. Van Gils looks for a little bit of respite as he goes over to the right-hand side of the road. Baggioli, though, he's put in one attack. And now Van Gils is measuring him. He's coming back. Have they got their gearing right? As I said earlier on, DSM have got 36.30 on their bike today. Look at Bonifacio. And this isn't the steepest part of the climb. Baggioli goes again. 17%. Van Gils is riding a wonderful race, measuring his effort. This rider from Lotto Soudal is the heir apparent of this Saudi Tour crown. Maxime Van Gils catches the leader. Van Gils now onto the wheel. They've both got bandages all over them from the crashes of the other day. All the riders behind just trying to limit the loss because they know when they get to the top, this race is not for the climbers. It's for the rouleurs, but they need to limit the amount of time they've lost by the time they crest this climb, and there's still 1,300 meters to go. 18%. Metget's looks for a little bit of calm over on the other side. This is brutal at this time in the season. 17%. It's going to kick up a little bit more. Metget's goes zigzagging across to the other side of the road. 19% now. This is the worst part of the climb. And Van Gils is happy to contribute. He's got a willing ally in Baggioli. Baggioli wants the stage. Van Gils wants the race. Maxime Van Gils, a quietly spoken Belgian rider who this morning said, I just need to be in the front group by the time I reach the climb. Talking into his radio. Just giving an update. Look how much we have reared away from the valley base. Baggioli not contributing yet. He might give Van Gils a turn when they reach the top. Still 989 meters. There's the green jersey. He's at 1 minute 25. Costa's on his wheel. Costa started third overall today. Buitrago had a 17-second lead on this rider in the red jersey at the front for Lotto Soudal. His day so far has gone perfectly. He's looking back, just trying to see what's going on. He's actually opening up the gap. There's the story. It's almost Vontu-like, isn't it, in its landscape? It's as windy as well. Van Gils wants a little bit of a turn from Baggioli, just wants something, a little bit of help. 850 meters to the crest. And then once they go over the top, 8.6 kilometers to the end. So none of these riders will want to go over the top in isolation. They will want to try and ride together, I'm sure. Give them a bit of shelter. Van Gils is climbing exceptionally well. Look at Baggioli though, sitting, spinning the gear over. He looks easy, doesn't he? If it hadn't been for that crash on day number 1, Baggioli, we knew on this climb would be the rider who would be aiming to try and win the race overall. But that's bike racing. That's how it changes. You can have one little crash and the race is over. Fagioli lost 19 minutes on day number 1. Van Gils continues, 580 meters to the top. And it looks like Van Gils is starting to go away. An attack of Maxime Van Gils of Lotto Soudal. And Fagioli, having looked good, now suddenly the young Belgian rider is starting to crack Fagioli. Fagioli is suddenly left wanting. Well, I thought they would ride together to the top, but Van Gils is having none of it. Fantastic climbing by this young Belgian. Had his 22nd birthday in November. This would be a massive win. He's only ridden one classic in his career, that was Lombardia. One Grand Tour. Last season he started off with Catalunya, he rode 49 race days, almost 8,000 kilometers of racing in the legs last season. Fagioli though will be disappointed here because Quick-Step have done everything right. He's just cracked on this final climb. Mouth is wide open, maybe suffering from that big crash of a few days ago. Van Gils still ploughing on, only 200 meters to go until he gets a little bit of relief from this huge gradient. Now it kicks up again. Almost 15% is the grade. Look how much distance Van Gils has already taken out of Andrea Fagioli. .113 now to Buitrago. Fagioli is trying to limit the distance between him and Van Gils, hoping that once he gets over the top, he will be able to close this one down. Van Gils' front wheel went left and right. This gradient is immense. Look at the road in the background. That's where we came from. Well, we're finding new climbs, new territories in this Saudi Tour, getting riders the opportunity to race at this time of the year in the sunshine. And we're seeing a new star emerge. Fagioli, though, is starting to fight his way back. Van Gils checks over his shoulder to see where the Italian is. Fagioli just keeping those pedals turning. Maxime Van Gils has got Alan Davis and Mark Wouters in the team car. They will be shouting into the race radio. So much has been written about the Lotto Soudal team for this season, about the fact that they would get relegated from the World Tour, that they'd have to fight for points. But so far, this team has come out already and won 3 races. They won Trofeo Tramontana with Tim Wellens in Mallorca, won Trofeo Parma with Arnaud Delis in Parma. They won stage 1 of this race with Caleb Ewan, and now this young Belgian rider is not only aiming for the stage win, he's also looking to put the green jersey on and lead the Saudi Tour tonight. They're now over the top. The gap is 58 seconds. And for Maxime Van Gils, as they go over the bonus sprint, he has just pocketed 3 seconds. Fagioli won't worry about that. He takes 2. So Van Gils is only 14 seconds behind Buitrago on the overall general classification with those bonus seconds, as Buitrago tries to bring this back. 1 minute 5 seconds. Costa now works. Goes through to the front. Tim de Klerk trying to hang on. De Klerk is still in a great position overall. He started today 6th overall. Just looking to see whether Sharmig is there. It doesn't look like he is. And it's interesting, isn't it, the way that this race is actually seeing some of the classic specialists able to go over these really tough bits of road and are still there. Daniel Oss is still in that group. 7.7 kilometers to go. Van Gils is in a race for time. Just gets a little bit of an update from Jean-Marc, the regulator on the bike. He shows him the blackboard so he can get an idea of just where he is. Well, the leading rider then, Van Gils, has now got neutral service behind him. So if anything happened, he would get service, but let's hope that he can safely get to the finish line now. He's engaged the big gears and he's rolling it. This is the legs of Bajoli. Look at the fight in the face of Bajoli. Desperately trying to bring Van Gils back. Got the sand blowing across the road. He looks like he's totally on his own. Van Gils seems to have superb legs today. Look how easy he is still. A little bit of a rock in the shoulders, 60 kilometers an hour. And this crosswind is not presenting him with too many issues. In fact, it looks like a little bit of a tail crosswind. So he is able to keep the momentum going, to keep pushing on. Thank you very much to all of you who have been in touch over the last few days. .40 seconds now for Van Gils ahead of Bajoli. So Bajoli is losing time and in fact is starting to drop away back towards the green jersey group. He looked so easy for a little while and then suddenly he cracked. Buitrago is not making any inroads at all to this race lead. Helicopter peels back. There's the gap between the two riders. It's a long road to nowhere. Well, Van Gils has a contract to the end of 2022 at the moment. This is not going to help hinder his contract renegotiations for 2023, is it? And an attack now for Tim de Klerk. De Klerk goes clear. Looks around to see Buitrago and sees Rui Costa. And de Klerk started the day only 7 seconds behind Rui Costa and 20 seconds behind Buitrago. But he's using his ability on this sort of terrain now to go clear and push forward his advantage. Seeing if he can put himself on the podium. 5 kilometers to go. Van Gils has almost got a smile on his face. He's hardly been out the saddle. Just rolls along with the hands on the tops. Big gear engaged. 50 kilometers an hour. Very slightly uphill as he goes past the camels on the right-hand side. Tim de Klerk still got a little bit of a lead on this group. As he looks around and he sees that they are going to come back. They're about a minute behind our leader. Four kilometers to go for our race leader. Still slightly uphill. But he doesn't look like he is under too much stress. He is still there and he's still looking good. Little radio pack there on the left-hand side of the spine, underneath the jersey. The team directors will be giving him little bits of information where possible, just to keep his motivation, keep him pushing on. As we look back a little bit, now he's going to roll a little, and then it's going to go very slightly downhill, and that will be welcome. There's Baggioli, and here's the chasers. They're starting to close in. As Van Gil's got enough in the tank. Baggioli looks around just to see where the chasers are. They're about 20 seconds behind him. 3 kilometers to go now for the race leader. This has been a display of power by this youngster. At one point on the climb, it looked like Baggioli was going to get rid of him. But somehow he rode an intelligent race. He managed to just ride at his own tempo until he was ready. Baggioli just trying to hold on for second place now. Buitrago goes through. The pace in this chasing group is high. On the wheel is Metgetz, Danielos, Buitrago, Rui Costa. This rider needs to keep pushing all the way to the finish line. He has 14 seconds of a deficit on Buitrago. Don't give out yet, Van Gils. Come on, Maxime. Still full concentration, because the green jersey beckons for this rider. He will pick up a 10-second time bonus for the stage win. Now we'll put him 4 seconds off Buitrago, and then it's all about how much time he can take, because tomorrow is still not going to be an easy day. Tomorrow's stage takes us back to AlUla Old Town. It's a short stage of 138.9 kilometers. But because of the terrain, because of the winds, if the wind blows, then there will be more crosswinds. The race isn't done until tomorrow night. Danny Van Poppel in here, in the green of Bora Hansgrohe. Cofidis are represented by Alexis Reynard. Red kite, 1 kilometer to go for the race leader, Maxime Van Gils. Here's Baggioli. He tried, he took the risk. Today, maybe those injuries have just cost him a stage win. He did everything he could. He put it all on the line on the climb, but there was one young rider who was just a little bit stronger. 3 hours, 32 minutes. Well over an hour and 40 minutes shorter than yesterday's incredible stage. Baggioli still there. De Klerk jumps across to try and help the Italian in second place. He's almost there now, Maxime Van Gils. He's done the last kilometre incredibly fast. He's 150 metres to go. Maxime Van Gils wins his first World Tour race, and he will also take the green jersey as the leader of the Saudi Tour. Buitrago now jumps away to try and limit this. The time has already gone past. Luca Metgetz is there in second place. Metgetz is with Tim de Klerk as they sprint now for the finish line. Second place at the top of a high climb is going to be Luca Metgetz in second, Tim de Klerk in third. Behind them was Danny Van Poppel, Rui Costa. But the day belongs to a young Belgian rider. Maxime van Gils, the 22-year-old, wins his first World Tour race. Lotto Soudal take their 4th win of the season, and this is a big win. His first victory in World Tour colours. 122 for the next group, including the white jersey. And we wait to find out what the situation is as far as the general classification is concerned, because it has been turned completely around. Maxime van Gils started the day 5th overall. And he has ridden a very intelligent bike race. Well, he's quietly spoken, but he packs a real punch on a bike, particularly in the climbs. We're up here on these sky views of Harriet Uwaidrid. There is Van Gils as he crosses the line for Lotto Soudal. And then the sprint behind him. Normal terrain like this, you wouldn't be expected to see Metgetz and de Klerk sprinting. But their crosswind ability has put them in that position today. Metgetz takes 2nd, de Klerk takes 3rd. See just how windy it is up here, can't you? Well, we've been treated today to a real bike race, haven't we? There are going to be riders minutes down. Here's the next group of riders coming up to the finish line. The De Koenig Quick Step team did it, or the Quick Step Alpha Vinyl team did everything they could today to bring the victory for Baggioli, and they did a superb job. Dainese crosses the line for Team DSM. Well, in a few moments, we're going to hear from Maxime van Gils. Opportunity to hear from the race winner at the end of a wonderful stage. We're up at the top then of one of several volcanic fields in Western Arabia. Fast lava flows in this region. Scoria cones, tough cones. 125 kilometers long area. Pretty impressive, just flat area on the top of this mountainside. Maxime van Gils is never going to forget this. His first win in World Tour colours. First win of his professional career. So that's two youngsters, Buitrago and Maxime van Gils, who've both taken their first wins. Here he is.
Well, Maxime van Gils' first professional victory. First of all, what does it feel like to be a winner on the pro stage?
Yeah, it feels special. It's the first pro win, but I'm not a guy that wins a lot of races, so it's really special to take a victory.
Can you explain how it worked out? It was, I mean, the perfect day for you. You were in that echelon, that good group in front, and then you powered away with Bajoli.
Yeah, I had a really good day today. The team did a really good job to get me in that echelon. And then it was just the job to stay there, spare my energy, and finish it in the end.
You, all the focus, of course, was on Caleb Ewan in this Lotto Soudal team, but there's you leading the GC now. Did you feel that when you started this Saudi tour, you had a shot at overall victory?
Yeah, that was the plan. We are here with Caleb for the stage wins in the sprint stage, but I was here for the GC, and Caleb had a lot of trust in me and motivate me every day. So it was a job to get a good GC, and today was a perfect day, and I finished it off. So it's really nice.
One stage to go. Looking good for our first professional GC win.
Yeah, tomorrow is a new day. We need to be focused. I think I have a really strong team. Thomas again, Roger, Jasper, JD and Caleb. Tomorrow we will go again for a stage win for the sprint. But it's also really, yeah, I need to take the victory home.
And how are the legs? Honestly, how are the legs after this demanding day?
Yeah, today the legs are really good, but we will see tomorrow how they feel.
Thank you very much, Maxime.
Thank you.
Maxime Van Gils, who says, I don't win a lot of bike races. Well, he's only just started his professional career. This is his second season, beginning of the second season, and this is how things looked at the end of stage number 4. Van Gils wins ahead of Luca Metgetz in second place, Tim de Klerk in third. Rui Costa rolled in 5th place at 40 seconds, so did Buitrago in 8th. And Bajoli finished just behind them in 9th place, having previously been on the attack with Maxime Van Gils. These crosswinds have been pretty relentless over the last couple of stages, and they're starting to really take their toll on the riders. I think they'll be pretty happy that tomorrow we've got quite a short stage. But as Maxime said, we've got to be focused, we've got to be ready. They will go for the stage win for Caleb Ewan. And if they go away from this race with 3 stage wins and the overall, then Lotto Soudal are going to absolutely love this Saudi tour. It's a distinct possibility. Here's the provisional general classification now. After 17 hours and 9 minutes, Van Gils leads ahead of Buitrago at 36, Costa's at 48, and then the gaps are big, aren't they? De Klerk at 52, Van Poppel at 57, Os at 57. If the wind blows tomorrow, though, you'll be thinking that maybe the likes of Os and De Klerk and others will try and do something tomorrow. Group containing Gaviria, heading up towards the race finish. It's been almost 10 minutes since this young rider crossed the finish line. He came here with a plan for the general classification, and it's all coming together. Here's the attack of Tim de Klerk with 1 kilometre to go as he tried to catch the rider in front, his teammate Bajoli. Took Luca Metgetz with him. It ensured he was on the podium today with this surge as he goes past Bajoli, who just could not get on the wheel. Urianstadt heads up to the finish line in the blue jersey. Well, the riders covered the distance in the highest proposed time, which was around about 43 kilometers an hour. They've managed to do that today. The riders were anticipated, if they covered that distance, to finish at 2:20 in the afternoon, which is, or 2:28 in the afternoon, which is what they did. Nothing like yesterday when they took well over 5 hours to complete a stage of 181 kilometers. It was an absolute trudge. Today has been a fast race. Here's another look at Maria, which, as Saudi Arabia opens up to tourism, is going to be a much more photographed building, the biggest mirrored building in the world, according to the Guinness World of Records. 9,740 mirrors on the side of that building, and when you go alongside it, it's pretty hard when you take photographs to work out what's a mirror and what's the actual real background. More riders reaching the line after a hard day in the saddle. The Lotto Soudal riders in each of these groups will be very, very pleased with the delivery of that stage. The job of the team was to get Van Gils through the crosswinds into the front group, and that's what they managed to do. In a few moments, we bring you the podium presentation of stage 4 of the Saudi Tour. Tomorrow's stage takes us from AlUla Old Town. As the race starts, it takes us northwards and loops around back down south, and then takes a loop northwards again back to AlUla for the race finish. So if the wind's blowing in the same direction as it was today, then we're going to see much of the race in crosswind. Crosswind from the left start, tailwind, crosswind from the right for much of the stage, a turn into a headwind, then a crosswind into the finish. There's our podium area, about to see the action of Van Gils reaching the podium, firstly to be presented with the stage victory and then to be given the green jersey as the race leader. Next group of riders coming in. The riders then reach the finish line. Elliot Leterre is in there for the B&B Hotels team. Van Gils came up through the Lotto Soudal under-23 team. Finished 12th overall in the Baby Lombardia back in 2019.
For us as well. More money, more jobs.
And the next group arrive at the finish line. He rode a pretty strong program of races with the Lotto Soudal under-23 squads. Finished 6th in the Belgian National Championships, that's under-23 level as well. Did manage to ride races like the Tour de Savoie, where he took the youth classification and finished 3rd overall as well. And that was back in 2020. before the Lotto Soudal main team said, right, let's move him up, and gave him the chance to ride races like La Vuelta. Thanks for all the messages. Thanks for getting in touch during this Saudi tour. I know we started with a few challenges and trials and tribulations, but hopefully as the race has continued, you've enjoyed the racing and you've got into it and seen the new sights and sounds and the history that is in this region. Maxim van Gils making his way now to the podium. Right up on the top of the world, isn't it, here? This view is absolutely incredible. Maxim van Gils on the top step of the podium for the first time in his professional career. Lotto Soudal have found another star. Little bit battered after that crash a few days ago, but it hasn't held him back at all. Let's just remind ourselves then of the stage today. In 3 hours, 32 minutes and 39 seconds, Maxim van Gils wins stage 4 of the Saudi Tour ahead of Luca Metgetz and Tim de Klerk. He's now going to pull on his first leader's jersey at professional level. Caleb Ewan arrives and gives him a big greeting. That was nice. Maxim van Gils pulls on the green jersey that Caleb Ewan was wearing after stage number 1. Lotto Soudal are having a great week. He'll wear this green jersey tomorrow. He has a big advantage to go into the final day. This is the general classification. Buitrago now 36 seconds down, Costa 48, Tim de Klerk at 52, and then Van Poppel and Os in the top 6 at 57 seconds. Van Gils will also be the best young rider. Filling on the white jersey now. Anton Scharmig was washed away with those accelerations today. And it looks like all the jerseys on the shoulders of Lotto Soudal now. Caleb Ewan arriving to put on the red jersey now. Lotto Soudal have the points jersey on the shoulders of the sprinter Caleb Ewan. He'll be looking forward to tomorrow and the final stage and see whether he can pull off another victory. Groenewegen got the better of him yesterday. Caleb Ewan with a 7-point advantage on his own teammate Van Gils, with Buitrago now on 18 points in third place. The gap 11 points between those two. And they complete the set. The best young rider is Maxime Van Gils. He of course won't be able to wear this tomorrow. He'll be in green. But no other team has got a look in after stage 4. Van Gils leads by 36 seconds from Buitrago, with Sharmik now in third place at 1:29. So Buitrago will wear the white jersey tomorrow. One other jersey though we must just remember is the blue jersey. Lotto Soudal getting the red, the green, the white. Sorry, I said no other team got a look in, but of course the blue jersey here of UNOX. So they get a look in, but not many other teams have got a chance. This is Urianstadt who will wear the blue jersey. Can he hold on to this tomorrow? Will he go on the attack tomorrow? The blue jersey firmly on the shoulders then of the UNOX rider. He did an incredible amount of work again to try and bring Sharmik back to the front. Here's the current situation. He has 18 points. Ozakis has 12. Turgis has 11. Still a chance tomorrow that he could lose it, so he needs to be vigilant. Needs to try and score some points, or hope that Turgis or Ozakis doesn't score on the roads. These two riders then just sharing the story of today's stage. Great morale in this team at the moment, isn't there? They are certainly on song. They seem to have very good morale between them, actually. When you go to the team in the morning, there seems to be a really good feeling about the squad. They seem to be backing each other up very well indeed. Let's take a look then at the final stage. Tomorrow we are in AlUla Old Town, 138.9 kilometers of racing. If the wind blows the same as it did today, it's going to be another tricky day, particularly for this young rider in the leader's jersey. But let's see how he holds up and see if he can bring home the victory. It's another historic day. Join us tomorrow for stage number 5. There's the profile. Bye for now.